What's something you saw that you weren't definitely supposed to see? My dad gave me his phone to order something because mine was out of battery, and on Google the first tab I see is how to tell your child a loved one is dying. My mum has been ill for years now, and I've been in denial about it getting any worse, but this finally broke me. A text from my wife to someone else. I can't wait to feel every inch of you deep inside me. Apostrophe. Divorce is going okay. I have the same first name as the CFO of my former employer. The CEO was not very technically savvy and emailed me confidential company documents more than once. Edit. Wow. Thanks all. 30k upvotes just because my CEO was an idiot. I was an Aussie child and I was looking through my grandmother's address/phone number book. She had little post-its tucked in random places. I came across a note that was a list of things she wanted to do to be happy, and one of them was find a man that loves me. My grandfather had died a while back, probably 8 years previous. It didn't make me sad then, but it really does now, because she has dementia and can't remember things that happened a few seconds ago. When I was young, maybe 6 to 8, I was at my grandparents' house. I was talking with my grandma and said, I wonder if there is a website named after me. She was just as curious as me, so we go to look it up. I type in my name then. Common to both of our horrors, it was a porn website. I was living with my girlfriend and her parents. One day I run down the stairs real quick to use the bathroom to see her parents getting down and dirty under the blanket on the couch. At this point it was too late to turn around, so I just ran past them. I use the bathroom and come out to her dad waiting in the kitchen. Most awkward moment I've had when it comes to parents, lol. When I was around 10 years old, my mom and I went to visit an aunt and uncle as my uncle, my mom's brother, had just had a major surgery. During the visit my aunt and my mom cooked a big dinner and my aunt tells me to go call for my cousin to eat dinner. I go to his room and open the door to be greeted by the sight of guns lining the bed, and I vividly remember seeing bricks of what I later learned were cocaine and big burlap sacks of weed. I blurted out, your mom's aide comiat, and immediately slammed the door shut. It was no secret to anyone in our family the type of business that our cousins were in. He came out of his room a few minutes later and scolded me for not knocking. I was scared shitless, but the young kid brain in me was also extremely fascinated to see that they were real life drug lords. Saw my upstairs neighbor and another man push a crying girl through a door. I knew they were involved in drug-related business, so I felt it necessary to call the police despite suspecting that I was being a busybody. I'd asked for my name to be kept out of the case, so I wasn't told the specifics. But my neighbor was gone for good, so he was definitely up to no good. I needed a USB drive at work one day and asked one of my coworkers if I could borrow one. It didn't work though. For some reason files wouldn't transfer to it. I started looking around for clues and found an absolute massive porn collection on there. The coworker was looking over my shoulder the whole time. The only thing I could think of to say was HMM. Interesting. Living out in the country, when I was 10 years old, my parents went to the local video rental place and brought back a few VHS. They told me to pop in Planet of the Apes. I didn't. Whoever had it before didn't rewind it, and it started mid-video. And all you heard was moaning, and all I saw was an eye full of dick and vagina. And I stared glued to the TV. And my parents freaked out and ran to turn off the TV. Apparently the small video rental store back then doubled as an adult video store as well, and somehow they accidentally grabbed a copy of Planet of the Apes by accident. When I was 8 I saw my mom have a seizure due to being physically addicted to alcohol and her trying to quit. It was a very violent seizure and I went into shock. In the terms of traumatic childhood events, I probably was not supposed to see that, but I have quite a few. I went to pay a ticket I got while driving with my headlights turned off. I walked into the courthouse office I was supposed to be in and looked through the glass to see the elected male sheriff giving the female magistrate a back and shoulder rub. They both went white when I knocked on the glass. The sheriff immediately stopped and walked to another room. The magistrate gave me the weirdest look and said, I guess Christmas came early for you stamp, and gave me the receipt of the voided ticket. Sometimes it pays to see something you're not supposed to see. My mom's suicide plan. She had a small notepad that she kept in her dresser drawer. It had her planning on trying to make it look like her accident so my dad could collect the insurance money. She almost even went through with it one day, but from my understanding my brother unexpectedly came home early from either school or a friend's, and she didn't go through with it. On Thanksgiving when I was like 15, my older and younger brother had both been arguing with my mom all day long. My older brother kept saying how much of a bitch she was. I walked into her room that evening and saw her standing by her bed with a few pill bottles open sitting on the nightstand and her crying while holding a handful of pills. I didn't say anything, just walked over and gave her a hug and held her for like an hour. Eventually she asked for me to let her go and walked to the bathroom and threw the pills in the toilet. The next week we found out that my stepdad had been ducking his boss while away for work and called my mom on Thanksgiving to tell her he wanted a divorce. My mom and I didn't talk about what happened for a few months. Eventually when she opened up about it, she said I was the only reason she didn't take the pills and that I had saved her life. She died the week after our talk from an unrelated accident. It will have been 10 years since then in March. Still miss her every ducking day. I have never told this story to anyone. Nobody in my family even knows. Will probably delete it in a bit. Just felt like sharing. Edit. I'm not going to delete it. Thank you everyone for the love, support, and internet hugs. Went to bed after making this post and woke up to a few hundred comments and messages. Just spent the last hour reading each and every one. I'm sorry for your loss. It was good that she got to see your kindness and warmth one last time in her last days. Some people aren't as lucky as you and treat a close one badly unintentionally and after their death live in regret that they did not part goodbye on a good note. Thankfully your mother saw in you what she need to see in her ending days. Hope she is somewhere in peace. One time I went to a concert at a dive venue that was tucked away in some back alleys. Was having a dart with a buddy out front during the show. And amidst the surrounding abandoned housing, I saw two dudes make an exchange of what looked very much to be a bag of guns and a bag of money. The bigger dude instigating the handoff immediately noticed and made eye contact with me. He slowly started reaching towards his waist. I held my cool and casually looked back towards my buddy, who was drunkenly ruining a joke, and followed him back inside. I know what I saw. The man knew I saw him. I didn't look back. My mom and her male friend ducking in our barn when I was 9 years old. After that our parents divorced and never spoke with each other again. I'm now 37. My mom's old friend came over. She is a little crazy but sweet too. She said I look just like her daughter and then spent about 10 minutes scrolling through her camera roll with me to find a picture of her. In the process I saw like 2 to 3 dick pics. She was a bit embarrassed, but just said I'm sure you've seen a penis before. Sorry, I assured her it was fine. Honestly by the looks of the dick I was more concerned for her. Grandpa's porn stash. After he passed away in the hospital, I went straight to his room and purged it. I was definitely not supposed to see my former boss banging the woman from the housekeeping agency. I was also not due the 35% raise that came my way the following month, but hey. Seeing one of my neighbors committing suicide by jumping out the window. Nothing like I've read on this post so far, but one time, right after turning 21 my dad takes me to one of his friend's new bar, and we're drinking having fun. I realize at one point I lost my dad, so I go looking for him, and I find him in the back room. He's with one of my friends that works in the kitchen at the restaurant we all work at together, and my dad is instantly get out of here. Don't look. Just go. It took me a couple years to realize they were doing lines off the pinball machine. Borrowed my now ex-husband's laptop one evening while I was at home and he was out with his friends. Browser was open to his Gmail account, including an ongoing chat with his mistress. He must have been chatting with her from his phone because their convo continued on the screen as I looked on in horror. I scrolled back through the previous several weeks of their chat. He mentioned having a wife. He sent her dick pics. So many dick pics. He gushed over his feelings for her, but she mostly seemed to want to hit him up for money. It was horrifying. Of course. but also a terribly sad look into the Dutcher bags in her life. Divorced now. Thankfully. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Same exact thing happened to me with my EXS MacBook. My computer broke, and he was letting me use his for a school project. I was sitting in the same room as him. He had his text window open on his computer, and all of a sudden, I see this convo with him and another woman where she's planning to come over as soon as I left for work. They were trying to time it, so she got there right when I left. The worst part of it all was she kept going on and on about how she can't wait to play with my cat. My ducking cat. Those are fighting words. Fuck them both. I'm happily married to someone else, and my cat is still my bestie. When I was a kid, I was playing with my dad's phone and stumbled upon a video of him and his coworkers fingering the receptionist. Just a couple days ago, I was trying to find the power supply of monitor I haven't used in a couple months. Soon enough, I opened a drawer and found my brother's girlfriend's dildo. I only found out what it was as soon as I touched it. I teach high school. While I was taking attendance at the beginning of a Zoom class a few months ago, one of the girls in the class was clearly video chatting with her boyfriend on the side because she lifted up her shirt for him and flashed the whole class. That made for an awkward communication to her parents. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.